well, probably the most modern cars you will see here at Hampton Downs over the weekend. They are the muscle cars. It's the Auckland Muscle Car Group and the Central Muscle Car Group combining, but it's an Australian that sits on pole position, and he gets the very best of the starts, and that is Paul Stubber into turn one. Tim Latrobe chasing him in the Mercedes in second place, and a great start by the look of it from Shane Weekston. We'll let them sort themselves out as they go through one, head down the short chute into two. A huge field of muscle cars. Normally, under their own championship regulations, they run in different classes, but I think they're all together today. And look at this. Paul Stubber is just absolutely enjoying this, just flicking the Camaro sideways. Latrobe in second place. Then it is the man they call the Tin Man. That is Shane Weekston in the Scania Holden, the HQ. Runs a small block Chevy of around about 600 horsepower, but so too is this car. Into the hairpin for the first time. It's the Camaro in the front. Latrobe, they've done a lot of work on the Service European Mercedes over the last couple of seasons, and he tells me he really, really likes the conditions and the circuit here at Hampton Downs. You see Michael Eden just arguing a spot there with Colin Sargison wide in the back of the field for the moment. Well, when you break 600 or 700 horsepower loose, you're going to get a sideways car. And look at Weekston sitting in third place, coming up over the top of the hill now in the Scania Holden, just as sideways as you like. Big lock-up from Stubber. He knows to treat that turn one with respect. The Australian, well, he came out here a couple of seasons ago, and there's all sorts of rumours that his car had a fuel-injected sprint car engine in it, and it was going to be the fastest thing on four wheels. He went back to Australia, he built a car to New Zealand specifications, and I put the commentator's kiss of death on him because he's overshot turn number two, and he is out for the moment, and that has handed Latrobe the lead. So Tim Latrobe, big motorsport pedigree in Latrobe, sitting behind the wheel of the Service European Mercedes. He's in the front. Weekston goes back into second place now, or inherits second place, I should say. But what happened to Paul Stubber? Well, he's had an unlucky run in New Zealand. He had a run-in with Steve Malem at the Pukekohe Park, Thunder in the Park meeting. Could have been a very, very serious accident. Luckily for both, they came through it unscathed. They took the car back to Australia. They rebuilt it. Steve Malem rebuilt the car he was driving. He is in this field as well and progressing towards the front. So maybe we'll see the meeting of the rivals a little bit later on as the laps wind down. But for the moment, it is Tim Latrobe, the Mercedes in menacing black. And he just picks up that bump in the centre of the circuit as they come up over the hill here at Hampton Downs. To give you an idea how fast these guys are going, the very fastest of the Formula 5000s were getting around here in around about 61 seconds. Well, on a good lap, Paul Stubber was getting around here in about the 110s, 111s. Oh, another one going wide that time was Vern Muller in the XC Cobra. And also Weekston having a bit of trouble with traction as well. Or perhaps they're just out there enjoying it, soaking up the atmosphere, taking in all the sights and sounds and having a bit of fun here at the Festival of New Zealand Motor Racing. Tribute to Chris Amon. Latrobe grabbing gears as he comes up the hill and into the hairpin once again. Tightest turn on the circuit here at Hampton Downs. Slightly different lines for Vern Muller as he chases Shane Weekston. And behind him it's Alan Pearce these days out of Taupo in a little VK Commodore, another car that runs around about 600 odd horsepower. And these cars really purpose-built machines. Muller has a good long look up the inside, but Weekston's been around for a long, long time. Got his start in HQ racing, so he knows just where to put that Holden and make it as wide as possible. And if that means getting the tail out, that's going to work for him as well. I thought it might have cost him, but Muller had a bit of trouble getting the traction to the ground as well. So for the moment anyway, the Scania-sponsored Holden stays in second place, but he drifts a little bit wide coming into turn one. Has that allowed Muller to get close enough? No, it hasn't. But then the big lock-up from Weekston. Now he's drifted too wide, and Muller should inherit this, just getting a little bit sideways. It's all too much for Shane Weekston coming out of that very, very difficult off-camber turn. Oh, number 429 just going wrong there. That's Greg Honor in the 429 cubic inch Mustang. As we go back to this battle at the front, still trying to regain composure is Shane Weekston, as sideways as you like. Now he's getting some attention from Steve Malem. Meantime, Latrobe continues to circulate out in the front, pretty much away from what's going on behind him, away from the trouble. In and out of the hairpin he comes once again. There is Muller. There is Alan Pearce. Diving up the inside of Steve Malem in the Z28 Camaro and takes the spot from Weekston. Well, that Scania Holden's got plenty of grunt. He tries to go back on the outside, but I don't think he'll be able to do it. And Vern Muller just getting away from Alan Pearce here. Muller in the Falcon. Pierce and the Holden, so the Ford GM rivalry happens again here at Hampton Downs. Up and over the top they come. Muller in the XC Cobra. There is Alan Pierce. We are about three-quarter distance as we watch that beautiful Falcon come through, and then there's another beautiful car. Well, there's so many of them in the muscle cars. This is Steve Malem, car number 7 today in the Camaro. Behind him, it is Shane Wigston. We go further back and find, by the look of the first of the Tiranas, the A90X of Clark Hopkins. Just saw him in the back of the shot there. Pierce gets a little bit closer now to Vern Muller. This is a battle for second and third, remember. Tim Latrobe further up the road, and Paul Stubber's done it again. Well, now, is it a matter of having some tyre trouble, or is it a matter of just being a little bit exuberant for the Australian? They call him the cat in the hat, a bit like Jack Rouse. He wears this very sporting sun hat wherever you see him out of the car, does Paul Stubber. Latrobe, big lead as he goes down into the far bend. Oh, some problems here for Tony Boyden. He's made contact with a wall by the look of it in the Walkinshaw Holden. One of two beautiful cars that Tony's got. He's got an ex-Rod Coppins Camaro. It doesn't really conform to the rules of the muscle cars, but it's a beautiful car just the same. Look at the acid coming on here from Alan Pierce, trying to dive up the inside of Muller. Muller sees it coming and just shuts the door gracefully. Around about 2 to go here at Hampton Downs. Latrobe continues to lead. Vern Muller holding on tenaciously to second place. All the action coming from the man in third place, the little red Commodore, the VK Holden of Alan Pierce. He's tried everything. He's tried left, he's tried right, and Tim Latrobe has stopped now. Well, it's turning into a race of attrition here as Latrobe pulls off onto the grass. He's got a problem, so that means Vern Muller's inherited the race lead. Alan Pierce would love that number 1 spot, and Steve Malem there lurking with intent. Then I think it would be the Tin Man, and that is Shane Wigston, the Scania Holden. But it's this man, car number 25, that's leading, Vern Muller in the XC Cobra. Pierce gets a little bit closer, down through the hairpin they come once again, now trying to get the power to the ground. Stay in the middle of the racetrack, make that Falcon as wide as possible. You'll know there'll be a challenge from Pierce. Yellow flags flying, so there's no passing. Waved yellow flags, not too sure what the problem is there. We might get a look at it as we watch Muller come round the sweeper. Oh, and it's Michael Eden's Falcon that's hard up against the wall, so he's got it wrong as well. One of the movers and shakers in the Central Muscle Car Group has got it wrong here at Hampton Downs. This man hasn't. The Falcon continues to lead the Holden as they go over the top and head into that blind turn number 1. And treating it with a fair bit of respect too is Vern Muller. You've got to remember that the cars this size with this much power will probably have used up most of their tyres and probably 3/4 of their brakes by now, so it really gets knife-edge stuff. Muller leads it. Pierce in second. Malem up into third place now. Then we go back to Bruce Anderson in the Mustang. Well, there's a blast from the past. Bruce and his brother Wayne, fixtures on the New Zealand motor racing scene for a long, long time in a Camaro and also a Mustang. Oh, and we just see at the back of the shot there, Stubber's got it, well, I was going to say under control, but it's doubtful. I think he's just out there having fun, just smoking the bags. Not too worried about the result anymore is the likeable Australian Paul Stubber as we go back to the front, and these guys are very much worried about the result. Malem getting a bit closer now to Alan Pierce. But the man holding all the cards and probably close as he can to his chest is Vern Muller in the XC Falcon Cobra, the coupe. Saw the stricken car there of Michael Eden. That was the reason for the yellow flags. Here comes the big top-end charge from Alan Pierce. Is he close enough? Not this time. Across the stripe they go once again. Last lap borders out, so Pierce, if he's going to do it, he's got to do it soon. Have a look on the replay. This is Paul Stubber, and this is Paul Stubber having fun, I would think. He threw away the race lead. That was probably a serious mistake, but after that, I think it was just a matter of entertaining the crowds. And speaking of entertaining the crowds, what about Shane Wigston? As sideways as you like. And there's Hopkins just making a move to improve his position as we go back to the front of the field. And Pierce is close enough now to challenge, so Muller will really have to look to his laurels here. Stubber once again is sideways as he comes up over the crest of the hill. The cars get very light, and that's an excuse for Paul Stubber just to light up the bags. Out of the hairpin, they've gone for the last time. What's going to happen here? Are lap traffic going to play a part? Alan Pierce thinks so. He's going to dive to the inside. Muller's going to hold on to his line. Malem is there as well. The Monaro, is it going to get out of the way? Is it going to be a factor in this? Here comes the big charge from Pierce. Around the outside, wheel-to-wheel racing. Oh, the Monaro is going to balk Alan Alan Pierce. He won't be happy with that, but it's going to leave, I think, Vern Miller with the race lead. Here they come. Down to the stripe they come, and it is the Falcon over the Holden, and Steve Malem closed as fast as you like in the Camaro to go through in third spot. Well, exciting racing in the muscle cars, and Vern Miller gets the win. In second place, it is Alan Pierce in the Commodore, and in third place, Steve Malem in the Camaro. Fourth place goes to Bruce Anderson in the Mustang, and in fifth, it's the Tin Man, Shane Wigston.